I rarely go live these days, but it's like every time I do, the second I hit go live, either somebody's calling me at the very moment or whatever is going on. Man. Alright, so title of this video is We Will Soon Discover the Crooks Involved with Thomas Matthew Crooks. Now, if you've been rocking with me for a while, meaning like years, you know I always talk about how the names of individuals in events or crimes, it really dictates the entire situation. For instance, um, there was something about a couple of preachers or something, and one of their names was, last name was Wiley, a pastor. His last name was Wiley. And I can't remember or recall the exact situation, except to say his behavior and whatever he was doing that caused him to get arrested was truly very wily, like wild e coyote. And so, I don't think it's a coincidence that this assassin's last name is Crooks. That right there should tell you this entire situation is completely crooked. Now, first of all, this kid, 20 years old, still a kid if you ask me, is a Republican. Why would a Republican, unless he's a rhino, Republican in name only, but why would a Republican attempt to assassinate former president, presidential candidate, Donald Trump? Jesus Christ. Things that make you say, hmm. And I was talking to a coworker earlier, and he said to me, he thinks it was all set up. He thinks that people, Secret Service even, individuals, including Donald Trump, put this kid up to it. They just didn't tell him that he was going to have his head blown off. Now, I've been hearing, a couple of theories, and initially, before I spoke to my coworker, I was like, well, it makes no sense. First of all, Donald Trump is far too narcissistic to be a part of some plot slash conspiracy where he ends up getting grazed by a bullet or shot. Yeah. So I couldn't see it. But we are talking about Donald Trump, and I don't put nothing past him. I really don't. It's very, very possible. And I'm not one for conspiracy theories or anything like that. But I don't get why a Republican, and these Republicans, these Trump supporters, they love them some Trump. I don't get it. But I don't see why he would do that. Unless he wants people to think he's a Republican, or he wanted, I should say, past tense, people to think he was a Republican, but he was really a Democrat. Who knows? All I know is that his last name, Crooks, speaks volumes to me. Now, you gotta admit, there's a lot of strange stuff that's going on with this situation. First of all, people saw him climbing up a building. How the hell do you climb up a building? But anyway, he's climbing up a building. Let's say it was a ladder or whatever. They saw him with a gun. People were informing the police or whatever. Hey, he's climbing up the building. He got a gun. Nothing was done. He takes several shots, as you know, grazes the right ear of the president, killing one person and seriously injuring two others. And you wonder, was Secret Service really doing their job? I didn't understand, when they stood him up, you just see this orange head poking out among a bunch of black suits that was surrounding him. I mean, why would they allow him to do that, to pump up his fist? Because that was a clear headshot to me. But at that point, the threat was neutralized. As far as they thought, I mean, it could have been another person there. Luckily, it wasn't. Or maybe there was, and that person decided not to continue, or whatever. But that was a clear headshot for Donald Trump, who's surrounded by a bunch of Secret Service agents. Then I read a post that one of the guys, the what do you call them? They're not called the SWAT team, they're called something else, but just another form of the SWAT team, for lack of a better name. The guy that actually shot Crooks, he said he was trained on him with his weapon for like 3 minutes. And they couldn't shoot first without an order. And something about, it could have been a journalist with some equipment or something, and the person would have to shoot first. And I'm like, what? I mean, if you make a video talk about, if an individual makes a video stating they are going to do harm to any president, I mean, these Secret Service people come and swoop your butt up real quick. So I don't understand how somebody who has a rifle that's very close to Trump, and there's a member of that particular high-ranking law enforcement with his weapon trained on, it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. And if you want to compare this assassination attempt to the assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan, another Republican, by the way, when shots rang out, these Secret Service officers around Reagan, you saw one really flying sideways in front of Reagan, catching a bullet. And in a matter of seconds, they had Reagan back in the limousine. Quick. What we saw yesterday is a whole nother animal. It was like watching the Keystone the Keystone Secret Service agents. One of the females Secret Service agents couldn't place a weapon back in its holder. I mean, really incompetency. And I understand, yeah, you train for such an event should it take place for years and years, and it's very rare that it happens, and you get complacent, hey, another rally, another day, or whatever. But you know, that can catch you off guard because it just becomes routine. And then when something really happens, I mean, you got to be on your A game, and they were not on their A game. So I think within a thorough investigation, there's going to be some surprising developments. I truly believe that because that assassin's last name Crooks, it ain't Crooks for nothing. That's foreshadowing of what's to come. Anyway, I never had. Listen, I know I started reading the book Mindhunter. Listen, that's why I read so much of it when I did, because life starts happening again. I've been very busy. I just things around the house, working in the yard, in between working and doing a whole bunch of other stuff. I just haven't had the time. But I will get back to it soon. And also, I do have the book by oh Lord, I can't think. Um what was his name? Somebody requested that I read a book by a member of Switch. And I can't think of his name, but I do have that book. I'm going to get to it at some point soon. I might read it coincidentally with the Mindhunter. One day Mindhunter, next day this Switch Guy book. And I still got to finish the other book by Kerry Rawson on the Other Man with Ass channel. So it's a lot. I do try to stay consistent, but it's really impossible. So when I can do it, I do it. Anyway, thank you all for your patience. Hello, one person. Feel free to come in the chat and say hello. But did anybody speak in the chat? I can't even find the chat. Where's the chat? I can't find the bubbles. Let's share. I'm curious. What is this? What's that? Chat filter? There's some new stuff going on with this. If you are listening right now, and you're probably listening behind in the stream, I would like for you to type something in the chat. What is this? At least 1 minute of video is needed to start a highlight. I don't want to start a highlight. Oh, Jesus. That's mute. What's that? Oh. These are the filters, but I don't see bubbles. This is some bullshit. They changed things around and now I'm confused. I hate when they do that, but technology is always changing, isn't it? Anyway, thank you for tuning in. I'm out. Peace.